absolutely need a business improvement district in downtown Towson. You go to Baltimore City and you walk through Charles Village, you walk through downtown, they have people on the streets wearing vests that help direct you to destinations, but also provide another layer of scrutiny, another set of eyes and ears for the professional police department. And I am going to push for that business improvement district before the big wave of development starts in Towson in about 2 or 3 years.
Yes.
Mr. West, this question is for you. What is your opinion on the state of Maryland trying to make marijuana legal?
I'm looking at my classmate from Williams over here.
I don't want to hear that.
When I was in college, on Saturday nights in particular, I remember my sophomore year, I was on the 4th floor of a dormitory, the oldest dormitory on campus, and I would almost be high. I'd come back with books and be high by the time I got to my 4th floor room and have to throw the windows open to air it out because I could not stand the odor. I'm one of the very few people, I think, in my generation that has never smoked marijuana. So you probably see where I'm going with this. The information that's come to me, I've done some research in it since this Make It Legal has gathered some steam, suggests that marijuana does have long-term deleterious effects, particularly on teenagers who are not yet reached the age of 21. Even if you're over 21, it can have deleterious effects. But on teenagers, it can have permanent deleterious effects on their minds. I remember at Williams, there were some members of my class, including one of my freshman roommates, who turned into a stoner. And I saw him basically staggering around the campus the last 3 years we were there. Occasionally, it was always somewhat embarrassing because we really didn't converse after that. He's now on the college's lost list. That's what happens, I believe, when you take larger amounts of marijuana, or maybe, I don't know how much you need to take to have it be a problem, but it can be a problem, a serious problem for young people. I believe if you made it legal, it's going to make it that much easier for young people to get the stuff. Further, and the second point is, there is no test. Where's Dr. Robinson, who's over here? He can probably tell you better than I can. But I'm not aware that there's any test which you can give someone if you pull them over to the side of the road to conclusively determine whether or not that person has had too much marijuana and the driving is impaired. I've heard that there's a possibility of drawing blood, but I can't imagine being pulled over and have the policeman come up with a syringe and say, roll up your sleeve. And we're not going to put up with that. So I don't know how we deal with that issue.
It's not from one of the donuts, and if they take it, you have to
So at least at the moment, my mind isn't absolutely shut on this, but at the moment I'm against it. Tim?
My position is a little bit different than that. One is I have no problem at all with medical marijuana. Okay? When you have people as miserable as people can get, particularly towards the end of life, between pain and nausea and just generally feeling terrible. I know a lot of you have had family members and friends that have gone through end of life, and it can be truly, truly miserable. And so I think that we're going in the right direction there. In terms of actually legalizing marijuana, what I think should happen is that before we do anything else, we should decide how we would actually regulate it and tax it. And my feeling is that marijuana will eventually become legal. I don't think I don't believe that prohibition will work well continuing on into the future. And I think we do some terrible things to our community by sending young men and women to prison for something that probably is no worse than alcohol. But what I do strongly believe is that the money that is collected in taxes should go for on-demand treatment for addiction. Not just addiction to marijuana, addiction to alcohol, addiction to hard drugs, and addiction to gambling. I strongly believe that the state never should have gotten into the position of pushing gambling and encouraging people to gamble. Part of our state budget depends on this, and I don't think our state budget should ever depend on taxes from marijuana.
If
Does
you
that answer your
legalize
question?
marijuana, though, then you're going to have people driving around that are high on marijuana, probably drinking also.
I'm not
causing
arguing
more
for it.
problems, accidents on the road for innocent people. That's the wrong
I'm-
way to
I'm
go.
not
It's a big
arguing
price
for
to
it.
pay for the
I understand what you're saying, but
In my
one of the
opinion.
differences between alcohol and marijuana is that alcohol encourages people to be aggressive. If you go back and talk to Chris's friends from college that staggered around campus.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If
Well,
you stagger around, get to the car
Right,
and driving.
but when they drive, they don't drive aggressively. When they get pulled
But
over, they get
their
pulled
brain is
over
not,
for going
their
too
brain is
slow.
not as sharp.
Okay, and I'm not arguing with that. I'm not arguing for legalization either. I'm saying if it
Then
becomes
that's why I
legal,
understand why
before it
the
becomes legal, we have to decide how we're going to handle it.
Well, so we end this evening on a somewhat controversial note. Wait a minute, Evelyn, do you want to ask one question?
Yeah,
Point
I'm
of
going to
privilege.
ask a
This
question
is Evelyn
to you.
Catch. To
Why
me?
was, to you,
Yeah.
why wasn't Wade invited to this meeting?
Wade, Todd and I and Wade, actually, hasn't Wade talked to you? This is Wade's wife, Evelyn, who I've known for 30 years.
He wasn't invited.
Yeah. I am trying to stay neutral in the race between, in the county council race between Todd and Wade. I'm having four of these programs. This one and another one in Lutherville. Todd is going to be with me, and then Wade is going to be with me. We agreed on the dates. He's going to be with me on April 23rd in Long Green and April 24th in Parkville.
Yes.
So we sort of divide the district up into fourths.
This is his district, this is his 5B district right here. And Lutherville is next week or sometime then, next week, and you didn't invite him to that one either.
But he's,
I just want to
but
let it be a fair campaign.
well, it is.
Because there's more to say than what you said here.
Todd's not going to the one in Long Green, and Todd's not going to the one in Parkville. So I'm trying to be as even-handed as I can.
Well, they're not even hardly in his district.
Well, they are in this district.
They're on the fringe of his district. So we're not very happy.
That's, it's 9 o'clock, there are a lot of more questions, but it's 9 o'clock. Why don't we break formally, and the candidates will stay here, and we will talk for a while with the other people with more questions. So come on up, folks. And but thank you, everybody, for coming. Actually, we're satisfied with the superintendent.